recent exhibition of Model Railway Club, and we have two gentlemen here, one of them who you've met before and another gentleman who you haven't met. So let's introduce ourselves.
I'm Andy, as usual, railway enthusiast, Saracens fan, and Great Western Railway and Lambrettas.
Fantastic, brilliant. And our other new gentleman who we've just met.
I'm Pete, another lifelong railway fan and a fan of the Great Western.
Brilliant, thank you. And they're both working on this lovely layout. Andy, could you tell us a little bit about the name of the layout, how long it's took, and something about some of the rolling stock and engines that you have, and just tell us a little bit about it.
Certainly. Welcome Mighty is an anagram. My two children, Matthew, Emily. It's very loosely based. It's a fictitious place, loosely based in Somerset, around the 1930s, although we can run it into the 1950s because very little had changed by then. As I say, it's a fictitious layout, but one thing I always wanted to do was incorporate a dairy. Dairies here. You see very few layouts that actually have milk trains on them. Milk trains are somewhat quite special. They were express passenger, but of course they always started somewhere, and where they started was the dairy. And so what would happen is local farmers would bring their churns and milk on here. It would come into the dairy, it would be pumped into the milk tanks. The milk tanks would then go up the branch line and probably be dropped off at a main line station to be collected by express locomotives. Milk was a commodity that had to be bought into London very quickly. We're talking 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours maybe, and a lot of places were down in Cornwall, Devon and Somerset.
Brilliant, thank you. So Andy, what type of gauge is this?
Well, this is O gauge. O gauge is 7mm to the foot, as a scale of 1 to 43. It's a proper imperial gauge. That's why it's, when you say 7mm to the foot, it's basically 1/8 of an inch.
Fantastic.
To the foot.
Very good. And how long has it taken you to build this layout?
Well, it's been in sections. The first bit here up to the tunnel mouth, that was built probably 6-7 years ago, and it probably took about 2 years. During lockdown, as you remember those things, the rest of the layout was built from here up to the traverser. Was built during lockdown. On one of those absolutely gorgeous spring days, I built it all in the garden.
That's excellent. So Pete, could you tell us about some of the engines that are actually on the layout?
Right, the engines are all hiding up at this.
So we'll walk down past the amazing work that they've put in to build this. So here we have it.
Right, we have a pair of pannier tanks, which are this one here on the milk train is a 5700 class, better known to the younger viewers as Duck, from the Reverend Audrey's series.
Okay.
The other pannier is a 9600, which would have slightly larger wheels and would be more commonly used on passenger duties.
Excellent.
And the tender engine hiding at the back is a Dean Goods. They were designed in the Victorian period by a gentleman called William Dean. They lasted through to BR. They served in both World Wars and had a very distinguished history. There is one surviving in Swindon, though it doesn't work.
Okay. Brilliant. So, and we do have one more.
Oh, you can put the prairie back on.
One more sitting at the front here. Which one did we mention? This one?
Yeah, you did.
We did.
We can put the prairie on
I don't
if
know if I filmed it properly. There we go.
That's the 5700.
That's the 57. Right.
Do you want to say a little bit about the prairie?
Prairies were designed by George Jackson Churchwards. The very first ones were designed 1903, 1904. which were the 4400 series, they had smaller wheels and they were designed for hill climbing. There were only 10 of them built, but they were so successful they made a bigger version, which is the standard Prairie, the 4500 class, and its later development, which this is a member of, being the, sorry, that's the 4500. The later development was the 5500, and the tanks were sloping so that the driver had a better view. They again lasted through to BR and are one of the archetypical locomotives that people remember from Great Western branch lines. There are quite a few of them reserved. There's a bigger version called the 6100 class, which were used on semi-fast and some express passenger trains, and a lot of commuter working, and there are quite a few of those surviving as well.
Thank you. And this device here, for those of us who don't know very much, allows them to move each train onto the track. And Andy, you did call it a certain name?
Traverser.
A traverser. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? And here it is in action.
If you go to Swindon, there is still one in the Steam Museum, just outside of it, where they used to move locos from the erecting shop onto the other workshops.
Brilliant. It must take a lot of work to keep that sort of, equipment working and
Yes.
In good running order, because obviously it's moving such a lot of weight backwards and forwards. Thank you for that brief overview of the track. We'll ask Andy and Pete to assist us a bit more as we look at some of the features.
On the layout, I've built a little ground lever. Basically what happens is, these are the same sort of things you would find in signal boxes, but because this is a tiny little area, tiny little station, basically it's a halt, all you would have is an outside frame lever. These are what they called, and they did exactly the same thing as a signal box. You pull the levers and it would change the signals, or if you were big enough, you would have a set of points. But that's what they used to use on small areas, on little halts like this. And as we pan round, you can see here, this bridge I actually all scratch built. It's all built from plastic card, bits of wood that I've cut up and machined and what have you, and just made a bridge to go over the river. The river itself, again, is totally fictitious, doesn't exist, but I always wanted to try, and if possible, get a cutting, embankment and a cutting. And this is exactly what we've got here. You can see the cutting as it comes out the tunnel, runs along the ground. This is a plate layer's hut. Plate layers were very important to the railways at the time, because in the days gone by, you used to have wooden blocks inside chairs, and it was the plate layer's job to go up the track for a mile and then come back and check every rail, every chair that's on the track, to make sure that the wooden blocks were not back in properly. Very, very important job, and you'd see hundreds of these up and down the line, main lines and branch lines. The river itself is built from magic water. It's basically just poured in and just leave it to dry overnight.
Very effective, isn't it? In fact,
Yes.
we've even got a gentleman here who's doing a little bit of illegal fishing.
One thing I'm really pleased with the way it's come out is my little artist here. That's painted by Claudia Everett, and she's painted all my figures, absolutely superb. And if you come round, you can actually see he's done a painting of the railway line itself. Right, the church here wasn't built by me, I can't take credit for this. It was built by a guy called Alan Downs, who sadly passed away, and his wife was selling parts off. Well, looking at this church, I thought, I've got to have this. And there's always a church on top of a hill, and there it is. It's called St Matthew's, i.e. my son, but in 1223, the Baby-Eaton Bishop of Bath and Wells allowed the name to be changed. It's now called St Matthew's and Isambard the Great. And as we come down, we come to the tunnel mouth itself, come to the distance signal. This will be the next signal up the line will be clear. Distance signal is always yellow and black, home signal is all red and white. Here's the dairy, as we've already seen. Again, the home signal here was guarded the level crossing. If the level crossing gates were open, the signal would be at danger. Little small signal box, again this is only a branch line, so they didn't have many levers, probably about 15, 20 maybe levers. And as we come into the station area itself, the station area is designed to take 4 coaches and a run around. Typical usual Great Western goods shed, a Great Western style station building. This was based on a place called Arley, which is on the Severn Valley Railway. Very similar. There's a few things that are slightly different, but this is what this is based on. And as we come round now, we come to the village of Weltham Mighty. A lot of the places here are actually built on existing buildings. They're all built from card kits, but all the shops are named after members of the Luton Model Railway Club O-Gauge section. So here you have things like Boyd's Brewery, Jonesy's the Butcher, Gregory, Pete, you've just seen, the grocers. This is Sims Accountancy, Saunders Dentist, and over at Everett's Bank, Post Office, Adams Electrical, George's Tobacco, Burroughs Bakers, and here Fry's Fish Shop and all sorts of things. So, and in the middle is the great man himself, a statue of Isambard King de Brunel, who actually built the branch line way back in the 1840s. So this is the third layout I've built.
Well, I've brought a friend back who's wandering around somewhere. I said, watch out for the layout. I think it was Dave.
So even on my triangle layout, I'll be able to run DCC. All we've got to do is just turn that up. And that's it. Put it on, use it on your phone. Everybody on an iPad. As soon as they do that,
pleased that works. So.
And the watching him programming on the chip in it, and then he put it in a different engine, download the new tunes, download the new sound file, and then re-download it. And then on the site it's got all of the engines, so if you I can. And then you can take it out, put it in that, download the concept of the 5 engines. So you haven't got to put a chip. So if you've got like an 8
So you've not run that very well.
They still need another software.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the right colour. And I'm on the door. Thanks, Dave, that was me. Luton, where's that
What are you up to?
How you doing? Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
He's the one that does all the videos.
Oh, right.
You might have seen this one.
Hello, Gavin. We've done it in just over 2 hours.
Well,
Faye and them are coming over. They did say to me when I thought, I've quite had to play last year. He said, well, but Sapphire's going to come and help us on the stand. Stone Sandy can do it quite far. Now 150 miles away. Yeah. Soon as that. down the front, down there.
That turns
Yeah.
so that's handed up.
This time we haven't got our own and water, we're using the schools. The schools do it.
know you're paid for something, I'll go and get it. So if I spend £1 on a pen, it's £1 more. They will get towards whatever it is they're trying to do.
So I've bought certain weights I know that work.
I can go right from on.
I haven't actually built barrack weights yet.
Brilliant. So we're now looking at the next layout, which is Little Messingham. Am I said that right?
That's correct, yes.
Fantastic. Please
Yeah.
tell us who you are and
Right.
what you've been
My
working
name's
on.
Kevin. I'm currently with a group called Caister Rail, which is up in Lincolnshire. I'm an ex-member of the Luton Model Railway Club. I was the secretary and I've moved on. And this is one of my layouts. And it started life as 2 boards on a shelf in somebody's house. They were moving to Canada and I purchased the boards, rearranged them and built a fiddle yard, and then tidied all the layout up to make an exhibition layout. And this is the second time it's been out. It went out in 2019, so it's been kicking around a little while, but this is the way we do it. This is what it's all about.
This is really good. We're really pleased to have shared it with us. And how long has it taken you to actually, from start to finish, once you purchased the boards to put together?
Well, I purchased the boards in 2018, and after about 3 to 4 months I had it as a running layout, and it went to the exhibition in 2019.
Brilliant. Excellent. And we have your colleague here.
Good morning.
This is
Good
Andy.
morning. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I've been in model railways for a long time. A little bit unusual because I'm a Triang fan, so people will either go love it or hate it, but many of us still love it.
Thank you. And your role in assisting here is?
Try not to crash anything.
Brilliant. So let's just have a look at some of your fantastic features that you've got on your lovely little layout. Would you like to talk us through some of them?
Okay, we have a scene at the end here. People sitting in this like a bit of country park, ice cream van, and I'm really heavily into Land Rovers, so we had to have a Land Rover on there.
Lovely.
And then moves on, just a few vehicles and people on the bridge. Nothing major, just to make it a bit more presentable.
Looks really good.
But then some of the bits I added was the billboards, because it all looked a bit plain without them. Then we come into the scene by the level crossing, a few animals, and I had to add all the wagon body and bits and pieces and scenics. Most of the trees and that were already pre-done. Signal box was already on there. I added some lights.
The lights are really good. Very clever.
Yeah, they're where they need to be, so that they can walk from the level crossing down to the signal box. And one thing that everybody hates is not having people on there. People use the station, you need people on it, so there's plenty of people about, plenty of movement, and you know, you can expand it. There's still more that could be done, but it's runnable, usable, and it's almost to exhibition standards.
Oh, well, it clearly is. No, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really impressive layout. Really impressive. I love your station at the end here. We'll just come down. You saw the buffer at the end. We're going to go and have a look at the tracks and the trains at the beginning.
Okay. Most of these locomotives are ready to run. We have 2 Dapple locomotives, an 04 and an 08. We have a Helgen Class 37. It's still waiting to have its people put in and its number put on, but I wanted to run it, so that's why it's on here. Dapple milk tanker, pair of Dapple oil tankers. I believe that's a Dapple as well. That's kit built, mostly Slaters, Parkside kits. Kit built, that's kit built, that one's kit built, that's kit built, that's an off the shelf, that's a Dapple, that's a kit built, and that's an off the shelf as well. So we've got a little bit of variety on here, you can't have too much.
It can be, but
It's good, and it gives you the ability to load them all on.
Yeah, you don't have to run them all at the same time. One
And
or
you
two
can
at a
easily
time.
load them on, and as you can see, they join the track and head up onto the route.
When you think that you look in 10, 20, you? Well, there you go. It's that's you should get.
That's why I haven't got the skills. All the passions for it. So.
No, but if you really struggle with skills, there's so much stuff that you can just buy that's ready done for you. So.
I know, but I want to do wartime. You see,
right?
What wartime liveries and things like that.
Locos that all be made. I know I've got the different names that the Dutch
I really hope the camera's doing it justice.
Oh, there's totally tailored. This is the Dutch. Yeah, that's right. No, I've got them all the old 3-rail ones. Anyway, I'll move on. Anyway, have a good day. What's my old cine camera? 76, something like that.
Priceless piece of equipment if you've still got it now.
Pardon?
If you've still got it now, it's priceless now.
Oh, I dare say. No, I don't think I have. I've got DVD. Yeah, right. Yeah. Street cred. Goodness me. Did I have any in the first place?
Disney World, wasn't it? Ready to open, nothing worked.
That's it. Try that again, Sean. Hold on. It's coming towards you. this piece is its first time out.
So sometimes it needs to be run
Well,
in. doesn't it?
you make sure it all runs properly, and then you come along and you start paint and glue and ballast and all sorts of rubbish all over the track, and then you wonder why it doesn't run.
Of course.
Unless there is an issue with that. Well, it keeps the railing on this point here, and I'm wondering whether it's. Yeah, it's all like that. Because that ran perfectly at York. Yeah? All